Hello everyone, my name is Attaturk and today we'll be playing as Turkey. Iron Man historical focuses, let's go. Well, I've done Turkey before on my channel, of course. I've done an introduction to Turkey and I've done the fascist Turan path. This time we'll be staying non-aligned with a very special trick up my sleeve to keep Ataturk in power, and also not just keep him in power but also recall Ataturk to active service and put him in charge of the army. This is not strictly the game plan. According to the game, Ataturk is supposed to grow ill and die, and you can either blame it on Spaghetti Goat or just roleplay saying we're going to make him become immortal, resurrect him, or whatever. Whatever floats your boat, we'll do that. So, we'll be staying non-aligned, so let's start with the Montreux Convention. We'll be aiming for this path here, the abuse of soil products all the way through here, but you'll see where we are going. We'll be doing the generic research at the start of the game, so electronics, machine tools and construction. Turkey does not start with trucks, so once construction is finished, I advise you to get trucks. We'll start with a few civilian factories, just a few, like 5 or 6 of them. 6 will be fine, and after that we'll build a few military factories. Military factories that we have one on interwar fighter. We'll switch it to close air support. It's good to have a supply of those things. And we also need some infantry equipment, support equipment and artillery. And anti-air. Now those two are empty for now, but we'll fill them up later. We do need the supply of support equipment for purposes. Convoys, let's go. We have an army. I like to delete it. That way I will always have enough garrisons for my Kurdish problem here. Set them to local police force and put the horses on it. And that will go just fine. I will also build an intelligence agency to keep resistance down. Now, as for those command power decisions to take care of Kurdish resistance, I'm not going to bother with them. They cost command power. They give you some political power. That's nice, but it also costs you stability, so I have to get that back. It's a hassle, and this time we're going for the Türk Uluzu focus, which will pacify the rebels of Kurdistan, and we will all be one glorious nation. Deleted the army, but I will train some new ones, just 24 of these regular reserve divisions, and we'll exercise them to level 3 when they're done. 5 speed, let's go. Now the overall game plan for this game is to put Ataturk in power. We will need a defensive war for that, and for that means we will form a faction, then guarantee Finland and go up against the Soviet Union. This is my third attempt at recording this, and the previous 2 have failed, so I'm fully confident I have learned from my mistakes and will do better this time. If not, then it will just be a video on how to keep Ataturk in power, and you can try to do better. I'm going for some anti-partisans now, and eventually I'd like to get localized training centers to get a Soviet spy, but I don't have the factories for it right now. The Montreux Convention is here, and we'll continue the policy of etatism. We'll also get the Montreux Convention decisions here. On historical focuses, you can always pick the bottom option, no compromises whatsoever, and we will then win. We get some political power from that, and I will use that to get a silent workhorse. In my other Turkey videos, I will soon after go for this financial expert, but this time I will go for him as Prime Minister later in the game, so I'm not picking him as financial expert just yet. The idea is to pick Şükrü Saracoğlu as Prime Minister before Ataturk becomes ill, or at least before he becomes terminally ill. The game then will want to replace Ataturk with Saracoğlu while that's bugged, or in a way, so Ataturk will stay in power. I will of course just claim that we made him immortal or resurrected him and keep the roleplay going a little bit. Once you have localized training centers, at some point you will have to create a European section. I need a Soviet spy, and Turkey counts as Asian. Go figure. Continue the policy of Etatism is done and will ratify the 6 arrows. We are now currently ruled by Etatism, which is a fairly good economy law. Do keep in mind that if you want to switch to one of the mobilization laws, Etatism will give you a ticking penalty. It's a very, very bad penalty, so you will need to reserve 100 political power to get rid of Etatism, in addition to flipping to another mobilization law. I'm going to keep Etatism for as long as I can. Ratify the 6 arrows is done. Now we have a lot of stuff to do here. I want to get these 3 focuses, these 3, and we have to go over here. But I'll start with peace at home because it requires Ismet Inonu. He's our current Prime Minister, and at some point I'll have to replace him with the other one, so I'll just get peace at home out of the way first. The 6 arrows law gives us a few decisions. We can raise our stability a little. It'll go down soon enough, so I'll just do that now. And nationalism for a little bit more of war support. There's a very lovely decision here on the Sanayiçiler that costs 300 political power but gives you a bunch of military factories, so I want that one too. Here's peace at home, and we'll go to Sanayiçiler. Sanayiçiler is done, and we'll continue to our new research slot and pick the other focuses along the way. Decisions tab gets longer and longer, but here's the one I want: modernize the General Directorate of Military Factories. A few building slots and 4 military factories. I think that's worth it. Cooperate with the Debt Council is done, and we'll utilize foreign capital. We got a bunch of political power now, so we'll do that 300 PP decision. And I think we can also immediately absorb the TPDA. Utilize foreign capital is done, and we'll do the Treaty of Sarabat. And we also have an extra research slot. Do keep in mind that if you're doing anything with airplanes or trucks or even tanks, you need a few of these refining techs, otherwise you're just burning through oil way too fast. Political power is gathering again, and we're getting... scratch that, I was going to get Camille Talon, but Ataturk is ill, which means he'll need a replacement soon. That means we have to get rid of Ismet first. Bye bye, you've been very good to us. And now we'll just get, where is he? Sucru Sarakoglu as Prime Minister. There he is. Treaty of Sarabat is done, and we'll assess our future. We get some political power again from our glorious allies, or at least friends, and now we can get Camille Talon. Daily political power gain, improved relations opinion, and electronics research speed. I primarily like the political power. Now, usually it's fine to just retire Ataturk and get the Prime Minister as your new leader. To get him to live forever, we will need to watch him die first. Just let it tick and let it tick. It's very sad, but we're... Assess our future is done, and we'll do the HT issue. HT issue is done, and we're done with this part of the tree now. We'll just go for Turkish State Railway, second 5-year plan, Guardians of Kemalism, and Turk Ulusu. I'm going to pay off our debts now. What I do like to do, but that's always a personal choice, is to give refuge to German and Italian scientists. I have access to unlimited stability decisions with republicanism. We can also get some cabinet members on the cheap. Infantry expert, only 70 political power. Regrouping expert is also a good choice, and I advise you to get the army maneuver genius here. Also keep an eye on your support equipment. Turkey doesn't start with engineers. I'm getting an elusive gentleman for a third spy. And here is the event, the death of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. The Republic grieves. However, he's still here. He's actually still here. He is still alive, and we still have our Prime Minister Sucru Sarakoglu, who I can only assume is a necromancer who revived Mr. Ataturk. He's not just a portrait bug. I mean, those buffs are really here. If you look at stability, you can still see 30% given to us by Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. So he's legit in power, and he's going to stay that way. Turk Uluzu is done, and we can continue down here to abuse the Office of Soil Products. As you can see, our Kurdish problem has solved itself. The spies can now do something else. I also got a Soviet spy here. Put her to work on Moscow. Put the other two guys on, you know, Iraq or something, just to get something going. Abuse the Office of Soil Products is done. Now keep in mind that any of these free trees here will give access to the Turan decisions. If you want to go for a non-aligned Turan, that would be your way. This time I'm going to prioritize Balkan integrity, and just to show you that pact. There's some interesting buffs here. Most interesting for me is the ability to create a faction, so I can guarantee Finland, so I can get into a defensive war, so I can get Ataturk in the field. Take deep breath. Continue Balkan integrity. I don't think it's the most fun part for Turkey. I'm just going to show it off for you today. And for the Soviet Union, I'll start a collaboration government. Another thing to keep in mind, there's just so many of them. This part of Turkish railway is isolated. There's a river connection here, but I do advise you to get a decent railway here. Put it on level 3 at least. This one too. You want this railway hub here to be tip-top shape. These guys, there's just so many gaps here. Meanwhile, continue to prioritize Balkan integrity is done, and we'll reform the Balkan Pact. I'm going to save up some political power for later. When we go to war, I want to go to total mobilization, women in the workforce, extensive conscription, and get rid of etatism. That's a lot of political power spending. Reform the Balkan Pact is done. Now, we're not going to do this entire tree just yet. I want to make a detour towards my army debuffs, but the first few focuses here are very useful. Not going to do this one yet, but these two I am going to do first. Just look at all those green numbers. Military construction speed, yes, thank you, and more factories and political power. Bring it on. Now Yugoslavia, Greece, and Romania join the Balkan Pact. Bulgaria does not, they will join the Axis. That does mean that if I guarantee Finland and war breaks out, Finland will call in Romania. So I need a defense of the Romanian border. Eventually they will lose. The collaboration government is done, and we'll get a second one. They get more expensive every time, but they are needed. Treaty for Prosperity and Trade is done, and we'll go all the way up here and do these two focuses first. Hava, Okulu, and expand the air bases. Let's have a look at the infantry templates. We're going to give these guys, engineers, support anti-air and support artillery. We're going to duplicate them and make an elite template for later. Let's Google the Turkish word for elite. And that supposedly is seçkinler, but I don't know how to type that weird C. We'll get the idea. And give them the elite icon that I always use. These guys will get additional cavalry recon and artillery once I can afford it. These guys will need to exercise first. Expand the air bases is done, and we'll do learning from the Great War. We can now do legalize new aircraft safety regulations and get rid of those awful debuffs there. And now we can exercise our Air Force without losing too many planes. Our second collaboration government is done, and this will hurt me significantly. And we will start a third one. Here's our pay attention moment. Germany is about to declare war. 39%. Poland joins allies. I can't guarantee yet. I'll have to wait for around Maginot. And Poland has capitulated. Now we can guarantee Finland. I'm sure nothing bad will come of that. And here we go. The Soviet Union declared war on Finland. Those bastards. Well, we can only accept the call to arms here. We can then invite Finland to our faction. And they are now in our faction. And let's do a few decisions here. We are at war. And it's defensive war. So where are you? Where are you? Recall Ataturk to active service. And he has been recalled, and we can place him here in charge of our glorious army. I'm putting him in charge of the army at first, just so he can level organizer a little faster. He's pretty good on his own already. I'm giving him the adaptable trait, that's pretty much a given here, and also improv expert and offensive doctrine. Maybe he'll get some more later. I'm not really counting on it. He's already pretty good. He can hold the line here. We're also going to total mobilization. There's no other mobilization here. We will do women in the workforce, and when this ticks, we will need to get rid of etatism. In one of my test runs, I did not get rid of etatism. It got very, very ugly. Imminent depression, there it is. Now this one only says gain base stability minus 10%, that seems doable, but you also get the event the economy collapses, and that one is terrible, really terrible. I was unable to prevent our economic collapse. Ugh. So, don't do that. Get rid of etatism. Where is it? Abolish etatism, 100. Yeah. And we'll also go to extensive conscription. Well, we might even go to service by requirement, but just get the guys from extensive conscription first. Peace in the world is bypassed. Gee, I wonder why. We have this reserve army here, and we'll make them in the reserve template at first, so they can exercise, and put them in Romania first here. What will happen is Greece will abandon us. They are already doing the focus our traditional allies in the Aegean, and that will cause them to flip to the allies. Nothing to be done about that. Also building up quite a deficit here, so we might as well request lend-lease from our faithful companions here. Now, it's entirely possible Ataturk does not gain any trade points for organizer. It has something to do with him being gained through an event instead of just being a starting general. If that happens, you'll have to restart your game, and then he will get organizer. I'm just going to finish off this encirclement here, and then I'm going to do just that, because I am here for the experience. And our third collaboration government is done, and we'll immediately infiltrate the Soviet army. Here we are again. Let's have a look. Is Ataturk gaining experience? Yes, he is now. Oh well. It looks like Greece opted to stay with us. Or they were rejected by the Allies. In my previous test run they just flipped to the Allies. Well, this is an interesting Vichy France. Alright. Anyway, I've decided to call it a day with this video. I'm hopelessly stalled here in the Caucasus, and that makes it the third attempt that isn't completely successful. I did want to show you how to get Mustafa Ataturk here as your country's leader and as a field marshal, and that's what I did. This conflict is probably winnable. I mean, I've beaten the Soviets solo as Poland. Poland is stronger than Turkey, but Turkey should be able to do it. The mistake I probably made is to advance through the Caucasus region here while the Soviets were at full strength. This is terrible terrain to push through. You should let the Soviets do that, and probably put your main force here on the Romanian border, where you can advance into more supply hubs, better infrastructure, and simply encircle more troops. So this is the end of my video. I'm going to leave this as a challenge to you, my viewers. Do better and tell me about it. Also, if this video gets, 500 likes? Yeah, let's make it 500. I'll retry this and make it an even world conquest. Why not? Ataturk in charge of the United States. It would be nice to do that by Thanksgiving to see the turkey all the way over the United States. Well, we'll see about that. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.